But about Random Harvest,
Yes.
he was so wonderful in that part. And I was so happy when King George VI, when I was presented one time, when we were doing, I think, the Royal Command show, you know, I think that was the year that that Forsyte woman was picked as the Royal Command performance. So naturally the stars come over and we have the honor of being presented to the royal family. And I had been presented before, I had met them before, they wouldn't remember. But anyhow, King George was so kind to me. He said, they always have something lovely to say to everybody. And he said, I have enjoyed all your films very much, Miss Garson, but my favorite is Random Harvest. So he became my favorite monarch on the spot.
I guess he would. I guess he would. What a moment.
It was a lovely moment. Yeah. That was the time the Queen told me that Mrs. Miniver had been a great morale booster.
Yeah. The British colony in Hollywood. Of course, Ronald Colman was part of that, wasn't he?
Very much at the
Did you get
center
involved? Were you involved in the British colony too?
Oh, to a certain extent. There were groups, especially, of course, wartime. We were all working for the British Red Cross and putting on benefits and that sort of thing. But we always did whatever we did for British Red Cross, naturally, we also would do the same thing for American Red Cross. So we were together a good deal in benefit performances and things. We put on a season of Noel Coward in Hollywood. Went very well. We all changed hats. The serious actors played comedy, the comic actors played serious, and everybody had a good time.
You're with Mervyn LeRoy again, of course, who helmed Random Harvest.
Yes, indeed, yes.
Become another kind of team, in a sense, the director and the star.
Yes, many, many times.
Any anecdotes about the making of it that stand out, or was it one of those pictures that
you
went...
It went so smoothly.
Yes.
I sang as I drove to the studio in the mornings. I looked forward so much to another day in this wonderful group and wonderful life story, wonderful love story. It was such a beautiful story. And it was a mystery, as you said a few moments ago, a mystery story too. And it was, the whole script was built like a perfectly written symphony. It was balanced, you know.
Oh.
Quiet scenes, turbulent scenes, intimate scenes, crowd scenes. And we collected a great group of actors. As I told you, Mervyn LeRoy is a dear. He always had some of the old-timers coming out of the woodwork and playing small parts. And they were so grateful to him for that. And it was a joy to have them. They lent a great kind of stature and special quality and reality.
Real dignity.
To the plays, yes.
James Agee, the famous screen critic, once said that if Greer Garson could break away from MGM's hold over her and the image that they wanted for her, she could have been a good Lady Macbeth. He saw other dimensions in you there, and I just wonder, because I don't think you've ever played a villainess in all the years that I've ever seen you.
Yes, I played a couple of villainesses. I played Regina in The Little Foxes.
But in film I'm talking about.
No, it was television, American television.
Oh, television,
not on stage. It was live television, which is a real baptism of fire for an actor, you know. You have all the worst and most terrifying aspects of both film and stage. The worst technical challenges are combined in live TV.
Yeah. What was it like playing Regina?
Oh, I enjoyed it.
Such a
I
role.
I enjoyed it, a really toothy role, a very meaty role. You know, it is much more difficult to make the good people, the normal, the decent, the quiet, average people believable. Well, you can make them believable, but to make them interesting is quite a challenge. It's much more interesting, much easier, I would say, to make villains dramatically effective. But it was my lot to play good ladies and dove women. And on the stage I had played some peacocks and eagles and flamingos and so on.
The irony of Louis B. Mayer going to see that play in London, Old Music, thinking it was a musical.
Wasn't that funny? Yeah.
I mean...
He thought it was going to be old Viennese music, or he wouldn't have gone. And he did ask...
and he wouldn't have discovered you?
No.
Unless it would have happened 5 years later or 2 years.
Well, I was quite certain that I would eventually be in a play that was good enough to go to Broadway. That's really the way I would like to have gone to America. Everybody was curious about America. We all wanted to go to America, not necessarily to live there. In fact, that was never my intention. Just fate. You know, things happened. A Texan crashed into my life.
A Texan did, didn't he?
Sure
49, and you've been here.
Yes, indeed.
I read that Errol Flynn used to, there was such an emphasis on horse racing in Hollywood. He used to have mice racing.
Oh, no,
and
really?
he named mice after different stars, and he was, of course, very fond of you.
Oh, good.
And I think for you it was
mouse.
he called it Tab Now for Best Effort.
Oh!
Isn't that delightful? I don't know, did you not know that?
I didn't even know that.
We
no.
dug that up. And
I know that. But he was great fun to work with. Everybody thought it would be terrible, you know, Warner's bad boy, and I'm such a stuffed shirt, you know, and so square, and Metra's good lady. This was going to be a terrible clash of personalities. And I must say we stalked each other rather cautiously like terriers the first meeting for a few days. And then we found we had so much in common. He'd started at Northampton Repertory, I'd started at Birmingham Repertory, and we used to have little jokes. If he made a mistake, I'd say, ha, one up for Birmingham, one down for Nottingham. And if I made a mistake, she'd, ha, one up for Nottingham. We had lots of fun. And I made him drink his gin out of teacups. I had tea served on the set, you see, at 4 o'clock. Everything stopped for tea. Once the lights flickered and the director said, cut, cut, it was Mervyn Leroy, cut. What is it this time? What's the matter? And a voice from way back, you know, 50 yards down in the depths of the soundstage said, "It's Miss Garson's tea kettle, sir." I was making tea. You see, I wasn't making tea, but somebody was making tea for me. And there you are. Anyhow, as I say, we served a teacup of gin to Mr. Flynn because he insisted on having gin in the afternoon. I said, I won't want any pantry drinking on this set. You come and have your tea in your own teacup with me. You know? Oh, we played so many practical jokes on each other. It's amazing the picture ever got finished. Terrible practical jokes. They were very funny.